college, first of all, we are very proud that we reached a level where an undergraduate graduation project can produce a patent. This was, I think, 4 years ago. The idea started when we started 4 years ago that IoT is coming and it's the future for us. And probably today in Newom, it's all about IoT. So we thought about it at the time. Is our future secure? Is IoT secure or not? When we looked at it, we found the major issue is the lack of encryption. IoT devices, because of obvious reasons, small battery, small power, small processing power, small memory, they don't use encryption algorithm because all of the good encryption algorithm needs huge encryption power, needs memory, needs power. So they send the data in the clear. So throughout the year, I don't want to take a lot of your time, throughout the year the student came up with the idea, we call it Bitcube. They utilized the Rubik Cube idea, how you can have several combinations, and then we come up with an idea of how to encrypt communication between IoT devices. And we had a prototype proving that it's a lightweight, does not consume a lot of electricity, it does not consume power, and it's also secure. And alhamdulillah, it's a patent now. Thank you.
See about the password. They say the password is now every time become difficult to remember. They're asking for small letter, capital, small and capital and small letter, asking for 8 numbers and also symbols. So we say that it's difficult for them to remember all this complicated password. Can we come up with something different? So the concept here is past text. So we'll give them a text and we'll ask them to remember what things that you remove from the text rather than remembering the whole password. And this will become also more convenient. So trying to balance the convenience with the security, which is always a trade-off to have. And the idea here will have, let's say, 100 characters, and the student will remember, or the user will remember either the first or something in the middle that you need to remove. And I believe this also will keep the security, or preserve the security, and same times the convenience will be higher. We combine it with a one-time password, so it's not just something you remember, also something you have, and hopefully combining two-factor authentication will make it strong. And yeah, I believe we're proud also to get this patent for this second project.
Have you had any application function such for the matter of application?
No, we just protect the idea. So maybe the second level is how to make it utilized. Yes. But we think about the app share, for example. We started now even maybe some
university portal use it as an authentication.
Why not? Yes.
He's the head of the university court, huh?
Yes. So maybe you can.
They will charge us, لازم نشتري منهم.
Minimum charge. Why not? Yes, Doctor.
So my question is, the long text will be made public?
Here, I believe everyone will choose their own text. So, for example, you will, when you register your authentication, you will choose a text, and minimum will be 100 characters. And every time we'll show you the text, and you remember what things to remove from the text.
So these 100 possibilities will be known by the public, or is it also?
Yeah, I believe it could be known. We're relying on what things that you remove from the text.
But then wouldn't it be easy for a machine to remove each one of them and try? That wouldn't be so many possibilities.
No, we're talking about 100 characters. So are you removing the first one, something in the middle, or at the end? I believe if we are going to do brute force in 8 characters, I believe this will take too long. So what about 100 characters? So we're our concern about remembering. So we start with a password of 4. Then we ask for 6, then we go for 8. And we are not asking for only character, we're asking also for numbers and for samples. So I believe we thought that not to making hard for the people to remember a long text. So what about remembering what things to remove? So hopefully that will make a difference, yes. Yes, thank you.
Scattering patterns. You know that nowadays the big data has increased a lot, and every device and every application that is used nowadays is based on the big data. because of the big data, the processes are becoming slow, or the CPU is becoming slow. And the advancement in these fields has brought a number of challenges, especially the challenge is dealing with the data which is coming with a high variety and high velocity. So dealing with these processes has brought a number of challenges for the operating system as well, that which process will go first and which come next. So we have proposed two algorithms which are solving the problem of the traditional round-robin scheduling algorithm, which is a problem of starvation, which means the CPU will take a long time if the job is very long. And also if the context switch will occur a lot of time, the CPU will be too busy if the time of the processor that is given to us, the time quantum, is very small. So because of this, we have designed algorithms that are based on the relative time quantum. It means that the processor will take the time given to each process based on its burst time. So all the processes that will come to your processor will be divided into two halves, the ready queue, and based on their time quantum, burst times, they will take two averages, the relative time. The first will be the average, the time quantum that will be based on the addition of the averages, and other will be on the subtraction of the averages. So it means the time that you will take, the time quantum will be near to the burst time of the processes. So it will not take that much of the time. This was our initial patent that we have proposed for it. We have another one in the queue, which is for the targeting the smart devices. Because of the smart devices, it has brought a lot of challenges in all of the industries, like healthcare industry or the smart homes, the smart cities. And devices have also changed, like you have cameras, you have sensors, where a lot of data is coming in one time. So we need some schedulers which are intelligent schedulers, which will take the time quantum intelligently based on the processes that come to it. So this was
Thanks.
هذا المفروض electrical engineer. صح؟
Her background a bit.
electrical engineer or computer electronics?
no computer.
Yeah, computer engineer. Any questions? This is above
patents ready to be commercialized, but none of them is commercialized yet.
And I think this is, على فكرة, this is one of the, this is common in Saudi Arabia, generally speaking.
Universities.
Not only universities, but even companies that actually generate patents don't really invest in getting the maximum value out of it. They might actually use it themselves only internally, but they don't see the concept of actually, can we get revenues out of it? I'm not sure why, but maybe
Sometimes it's logistics. What's up, Digger? We were approached by Dubai police, we were approached by a company from UK, but there was no official way of selling it yet. Now, alhamdulillah, we have a lot of ways to sell these things.
In Silicon Valley, they presented a paper. How many of the patents get commercialized?
5%.
6 out of 1,000 get commercialized, and 3 of these 6, they stay longer than 3 years. So they get commercialized as a startup, but they do not continue after 3 years.
3 years.
So you're talking about 3 out of 1,000 that get really commercialized in 6 years. But we're working on it. ترى ما نسمع صوتك.
Statistics, Qs and Qs.
More algorithm.
But there is kind of diversity يعني in the work.
Created a system and methodology for controlling electronic devices using the pupil and gaze position. It detects the eye position to control the device.
So it's a system that can track an eye in real time, and it can be used by any other applications in the background. What do you use it for?
Really good thing.
Cybersecurity and digital forensic. I will present our graduation project, which is a study of human behavior toward a cybersecurity policy. So the aim of this project to gather the data about the human behavior toward the cybersecurity policy. As you know, human behavior is more important than the awareness, because the people, they might be aware but behave in a wrong way. So our aim to gather the data about their behavior, to control our environment and to be secure. So we come up with the idea of having a creative installment instead of using the traditional installment like asking questions and waiting for the optimal answers. So we are building a creative questionnaire that let the people behave normally to collect the accurate data in order to secure our environment. So we come up with the idea of designing a game. So we use a gamification concept based on writing, selecting the measures that we want to measure, like email, password, and so on. Then we write the policy under all these procedures. After that, we're writing the questions that will be hidden behind the game. So the people will play the game and they will not see any questions. They will see like a normal game, motivation, and they will click here and do this. Then we collect the data about their behavior. Then we come up with analysis that help us to know our employee or our student behavior about the cybersecurity and digital policies. So this is all about the graduation project. And for the achievement, we are publishing a paper with the title of Installment to Measure Human Behavior to Security Policies.
That's the third paper of publishing.
Yes.
Interesting, mashallah. So you're developing the game around the behavior that you want to test for. Is that accurate?
Yes.
For example, if you want to check if people are reckless with emails clicking,
Yeah.
you develop that game around it.
Yes.
But you're not actually testing them on email. You're giving them a game and you're measuring.
Yes.
Interesting.
The idea, if you give someone a questionnaire, you will test their knowledge. They will answer based on their knowledge, but you're not testing their actual behavior. So that's a game. They all playing at the game. They don't know we are collecting data about it. It can be used, for example, when you first hire an employee, you give him a game to play and understand how the work goes, and you test his behavior also.
But first of all, I would like to take just 1 minute to thank you for your great efforts and attendance to support young Saudi to continue research on the life. So without any further ado, I will just present the idea and brief you about it. Our idea is centered around tackling the problem of investigating WhatsApp crimes. And why WhatsApp specifically? Because WhatsApp has the highest rate of crimes internationally and locally based on our research and survey, because we have contacted the concerned departments here in Saudi Arabia, such as Digital Forensic Department in Dammam, and we get the elastic statistics for that. The second problem that this application was trying to tackle is the hardness or difficulties of investigating. Because when we try to investigate, we have to make sure that the data kept intact with high integrity to make it admissible at court. So what they do is that they usually take full image of the mobile phone to find WhatsApp and WhatsApp key, then decrypt it and start investigating. This acquisition process takes a very long time. It even takes days because of the huge size of mobile phone. So this is the first thing, it's the long process. Second thing is that the current applications found in the market doesn't support the analysis feature required to achieve the investigation purposes. So what we did is that we have our workaround to just take WhatsApp data, make sure that they are intact, fully with full integrity, along with the decryption key to decrypt WhatsApp. This is the first solution we provided. Second thing is that we provide full features for analysis that helps investigator to easily investigate, and then create reporting. And the reporting formula or format was aligned with Saudi format. So how is this beneficial? It minimizes the time from 24 hours to less than 2 minutes for acquisition only. So this will help reducing the resource utilization time and eventually cost. And it will help for sure protect people rights because it's facilitate the investigation of WhatsApp crimes. And to make it, we developed the tool with the intent that it served locally and internationally. So we make sure it is aligned with NIST cybersecurity requirements, which is a global or international requirement. You can see the comparison here. This is our tool, and this is the tool available in the market. We make sure it is green, fully aligned and compliant. The model is very simple. The investigator have to bring the suspect or the criminal mobile phone connected to the investigation laptop with our tool installed in it, and then he will start acquisition, analysis, and reporting. Alhamdulillah, we published this research in Springer Link first quarter journal, and we have presented it in Dubai Upcode conference, and we continually work in the tool to make sure it is working with every WhatsApp update, because they make it more harder and complicated, but we alhamdulillah can heard them. So this is a brief about our project. Thank you very much for listening, and we are welcome to ask any question.
صار متخرج
صار متخرج and currently working in Saudi Aramco Shell Refinery in Dubai.
فين؟
أشتغل في شركة ساسر في دبي.
ما شاء الله تبارك الله.
As an information security analyst and even my colleagues are all of them are graduates.
Very impressive.
Thank you very much.
This is a very impressive solution.
Thank you very much.
We focused on.
We didn't get your name, I'm sorry.
I'm Samiha.
Samiha.
I'm an undergraduate student currently, final year. So in our research project, we focused on making techniques that will identify if a website is malicious or is it legit. So because since the evolution of the World Wide Web, the amount of websites have increased like drastically. So malicious users have started like carrying out fraudulent activities on the internet. So we used artificial intelligence techniques, mainly machine learning and deep learning, in order to detect if the website is malicious or not. So we acquired a data set and it had 54,000 records and it underwent like an extensive pre-processing phase. We applied feature selection and we extracted the best features that would impact the performance of the model. And then after the classification phase, we applied different models and convolutional neural network, which is a type of deep learning model. It gave us the best performance. It was able to correctly classify 99.48% of the websites when we tested it. So this research is very beneficial for other research scientists because here we are extensively laying out to them what features helped us give the best performance. And we have also used like feature selection techniques, and this will help guide them which feature selection techniques to use to get the best features. So as a future work, we are planning to test out our model in real time to identify a malicious website and bring it down before it spreads and affects more people. And based on our findings, we have like drafted a research paper and submitted it to a Quartile 1 journal, and it's currently under review.
So it's go ahead.
So the accuracy is
0.48.
And you based this on a data set of 54,000 websites.
Yes.
54,000 websites, and the accuracy is 99.48.
48.
And you're only looking at pattern, not content. Are you looking at the content of the website, or are you
Yes.
looking at the URL itself? Yes.
We are looking at both actually. Our features were based on both the URL and the content.
And the content, how are you in the background? How are you making that judgment or the analysis? Is it are you looking at reputations, or you're just analyzing the content itself?
We are just analyzing the content itself, like maybe the JavaScript code, the HTML code. They have some suspicious functions in them sometimes if they are malicious. So we are looking for those.
Very interesting. ما شاء الله تبارك الله. ايه ما شاء الله تبارك الله.
هذه supporting
Right, chair.
On here on behalf of the team, Ghada and Sarha, they're not here. So the project idea is to have, we want to detect the click fraud detection system. So we're creating a system that is a live representation of the number of clicks, whether they were a fraud or legitimate. This will help the advertisement companies as that the ad fraud is now getting more, let's say, threatening than the credit card fraud. So we're helping them in saving their budget for not having more clicks from malicious bots without an actual interest on the ad. So the final outcome is a system, a dashboard created using Python. It will show the number of clicks that are legitimate and fraud using machine learning. The data set gathered was a collaboration with a company in UK. They helped us in creating an environment with an actual malicious bots with around more than 2K data samples. We have legitimate and the fraud clicks. We have used Python to get the feature extraction, extracted more than 34 features. And those are the ones selected for machine learning. We have used machine learning. The highest accuracy we have reached is 91% using decision tree algorithm. In the dashboard, we show the different web browsers that the bot used. The most common web browser we found that they were using the Chrome. We also differentiate between if the bots were using a mobile or a desktop. And we also get the like a map of where those clicks were generated. This will help the company to know how many clicks they got on their ad, the ones that are legitimate, they have to pay for, and the phishing or the malicious ones. And we are currently working on a paper since the data set is unique and real. In addition, the selected feature of 34 features are unique and not found in the past research papers. Thank you.
يعطيك العافية. Very interesting. People are losing a lot of money because of this fraud.
And today our project is Gaza. We all know that recently many attacks have been targeting oil and gas industry, or even recently. So such attacks are either exploiting wireless sensor networks, which is also known as Internet of Things. Such exploitation can cause falsification of data. For example, this oil plant requires more pressure or more heat, which causes a major explosion since it's a critical industry which affects the Saudi and the international economy. Hence, we created SOGASM. SOGASM is a smart infrastructure monitoring solution based on industrial Internet of Things and machine learning. It is considered as a combination between cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. In simple words, what it does, it reads real-time data from wireless sensors and monitors, real-time monitoring. Any abnormalities in the values is then alarmed to the proper personnel to take proper action. We also created a hardware part which contains a microcontroller to emphasize the alarm part to the proper personnel. We also submitted a paper to the Q1 journal. And I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have.
So this system reads data from the operating facility, the sensors.
Yes, the sensors in real time.
And connects with a SOC and
Yes,
triggers
connects,
alert
yes.
if there is any abnormal activity.
Yes.
An abnormality is based on what?
Based on linear regression, it was trained using a real data set retrieved from real oil and gas plant. And then this data set contains normal, and then we falsified this data set to contain any abnormal behavior. And then we trained the data on, we trained the solution on this abnormal, and then it detects. It shows promising results, and inshallah in future future further developments.
ما شاء الله. يكون عافية.
And I'm going to present the Untitled project, which was supervised by Dr. Wmca. Now, the main problem that we're trying to solve here is that social engineering are conducted, or we can see them everyday basis. We can see them in instant message applications, pushing the attackers to leverage these apps in order to commit their attacks and steal user credentials. So to solve this problem, we need to take immediate actions. We need to implement a tool that automatically detects social engineering in real time. So this is where we introduce the Chat Hunter project. The Chat Hunter tool basically automatically detects social engineering attempts in real time using machine learning algorithms. Now, the main operation taken by Chat Hunter is that once a message has arrived at the victim, if there is any URL detected within the message, the features regarding this URL will be extracted and then sent to the server for classification. Otherwise, if the message doesn't contain any URL, if the message contains suspicious words, those suspicious words, our scope being detected, they're based on financial related.
زي account number.
Okay,
بالعربي.
so these suspicious words, if they're indicated within the message, then the process begins by extracting features from the message and then sent to the server. So based on the classification, an alert will be carried to the users indicating that possible impersonation are being detected. You can see here how the alerts are being based on URL and the message
هذه integrated مع WhatsApp ولا مع
we
Messenger؟
implement our project on Telegram.
Okay. API.
We get an accuracy of 88% for the person.
So it's basically running in the background as I'm communicating with
Yes,
whatever.
once you register,
Yeah.
you take the baseline, and then
But هذه chat hunter will work with a chat bot in the back end. لأنه الآن most of the scams are running by bots. يعني أنت تخلي بوت يتكلم مع بوت وأنا خارج التشكيلة basically.
use a client. Basically, it's a telephone line.
You use some-
It's a telephone line that has client methods to interact with your user.
Originally, the idea was to integrate this with WhatsApp, but WhatsApp didn't have APIs,
Yeah, yeah.
so we used Telegram. So basically, this message, based on the behavior of the person who are contacting them, this message does not fit with his profile.
No.
So the chat hunter tells you there is a possible of impersonation, maybe someone else is using this account.
It's automating style.
Relying more on the human factor.
Most of the time what happens, مثلا, my account was hacked and the hacker is contacting you, you think it's me. And you will send me money because you think it's me. So this will prevent this action because they will tell you, this kind of text is not hard style.
هذا very important, very interesting.
So the main idea is that to reduce social engineering attacks, to prevent or to reduce the number of victims that are being manipulated in such platforms by alerting them
But I'm guessing that the same concept can apply to any other forms of communication, like messaging, if there is an integration. Email can be also used for
it's
the concept.
targeting instant messages applications
Oh,
like WhatsApp, Telegram.
Okay.
No, but the concept,
The concept
can
is
be generalized to emails and other stuff.
I will be presenting the analysis of network log data using multi-class machine learning models. Depending on the everlasting development of technology, we are provided with a lot of opportunities. However, with these opportunities, we are provided with a lot of issues. One of these issues is network security. This is where artificial intelligence comes into place. Artificial intelligence in the form of machine learning and deep learning has shown great performance in a lot of fields, including our field of interest, which is cybersecurity. Hence, we wanted to incorporate these techniques in our models by creating 6 multi-class deep learning and machine learning modules that support and aid firewalls and antivirus systems in implementing the action to be taken in response to a packet received or a threat. We were provided with a data set privately collected for us. Once the data set was obtained, we worked on processing the data, and our core work was feature selection. We ended up with 2 sets of features and conducted 2 experiments on them. All 6 models performed with high performance, especially the random forest, which achieved the best performance of a classification accuracy of 99.64%. Through our research, we were able to show the impact of each feature on the action to be selected by the firewall, which shows the contribution of machine learning on automating this process in a reliable manner. Hence, these models could be used as a substitute or even as a second layer of security. And our main contribution was a paper currently under revision to be published soon in a Q1 journal.
بس الفوكس كان primarily على الفايروال logs. So you're getting
We analyze them to check which features are most important and then mimic the work of a firewall. So we can substitute a firewall completely or work as a second layer.
and you're doing this passively يعني active.
We have a data set provided for us.
Thank you very much.
And I have stated before, previously is one of the most common attacks in the email environment. But now for real, my name is Salsa Al-Wadif. I'm going to present you our project, which is Wmca, which is a blockchain-based email service framework. We mainly focused on 2 issues that the email environment face till this day by a lot of companies, which is email spoofing and phishing. And by using we have used the blockchain technology due to 2 things or features that we see as important, which is decentralization and the other feature that whenever data is written into the blockchain, it can never be changed. And based on that feature, we have configured our framework to validate any email received via our application. The flow of the transaction that the user plugs into our client, then he requests via API to an email provider, and whenever he marks this email as important, it will go through the blockchain, and the unique value of this email will be saved in the blockchain and will never be changed. To help in the next steps to verify the email by the recipient to avoid being fish or spoofed.
The spoofing, I agree, one of the most difficult problems is spoofing. Phishing is not a piece by itself. But the spoofing, there are certain technology like SPF,
we have two layers of defense. First is to check the SPF record, whether the originating email, the originating IP of this email is included in the SPF. If it's included, then it will go through the blockchain to make this extra verification.
Again, our number one biggest problem is phishing, and phishing is usually using spoofing.
Trust me, I faced a lot of them.
طيب ما شاء الله تبارك الله. طبعا الان maybe just to ask the concept of blockchain. Again, you have a chain of connected blocks. How many blocks do you have?
Depends on the environment of the blockchain that you want to implement. Our model, we implemented Ethereum blockchain, which is it's kind of expensive, but there are a lot of solutions. But it's a proof of concept. Project proof of concept.
Maybe think of expanding this to have more blocks in the university.
It can be unlimited.
Yes.
So whatever.
Good luck.
ماجستير هو ماجستير كمبيوتر ساينس تراك سايبر سيكيورتي.
Greetings everyone, this is Matt Jazi. It's my pleasure to have you here all. Today I will present my master thesis that is enhancing the blockchain voting process in IoT using novel blockchain weighted majority consensus algorithm. First of all, that is supervised by Dr. Rami. First of all, I will talk about in IoT. IoT is not that it's improving our lifestyles in a noticeable way. So securing it is a big challenge for us. And the blockchain is a peer-to-peer connection that is used to that have lots of miners and transactions and voting processes. That is consensus algorithms, which we'll focus on. The consensus algorithms are responsible to validate the transactions in the blockchain. So blockchain is rarely used in securing IoT. The IoT environment is very low resources and low computing powers, and blockchains are very high, need high computing powers and resources. So we have to build up with and produce and propose a consensus algorithm that's used very low of the consensus algorithm that are very low in resources and computing powers. We take an interested idea we borrowed an interested idea from the machine learning ensemble learning. We use the Wmca, that is weighted majority algorithm. So we combine the blockchain transaction validation process with the weighted majority algorithm, and we get up with a new novel blockchain weighted majority consensus algorithm, Wmca. In weighted majority algorithm, every voter has assigned with a weight, and this weight is produced by its performance. So we do the same in the blockchain validation transactions to come up with a consensus algorithm that suits the IoT. How does the Wmca works? We have 5 steps, like miners voting process, then transaction validation process, then calculating the maximum number of correct votes, and for the last we have collecting the loss rate ratio. Then at the end we update the miners. What happens when we use the IoT environment with blockchain technology, with our new weighted majority consensus algorithm, we can get a secure IoT environment. And also this research has been contributed to the technological part in Saudi Arabia Vision 2030 in different sectors such as education and healthcare. And also our paper has been published in a QA journal, which is Information Security Journal, and it has been lots of citations. That's all. Thanks for listening.
That is called Securing the Deep Learning-Based Object Detection System in Self-Driving cars against the adversarial example attacks. As we all know that now artificial intelligence is the new arena, and in the last 10 years, scientists and researchers work hard to improve the artificial intelligence model. This effort resulted to have a wide range of smart programs. One of these programs is the critical systems like self-driving cars. And self-driving cars promises us to have a luxury driverless experience. But there is the other side, the worst side, that we can have like attacks, okay? That we call them adversarial attacks. And if you remember or you know the accident or the crash that happened to Tesla when it detected a truck as a sky and it crashes the truck. So it was a real sin in real life. In our work...
but it wasn't as a result of an attack, right? It was an error.
We don't know. This is the problem that we don't know if it is inherited or it is an attack. Okay, but it can be an attack because the experiment started already to work on this area, because the main problem that we don't know, as we are saying in Arabic, that الإنسان عدو ما يجهله, that's because we don't know if it is a real attack. So first of all, to know if it is inherited or is an attack, we drive a very wide systematical review on object detection, especially the deep learning-based object detection. First, we conducted a review or experiment for detector. It's the four well-known state-of-the-art detectors on 3 new custom datasets to know if they are stable or not, and what is the difference between one dataset to the other. And yes, we find a huge difference from one dataset to the other. Then we develop a new threat model that is combined 2 types of attacks. One is, we call it patch-based attack, and the other one is perturbation-based attack. The patch that we are just sticking well-measured patch on the images, then we feed them to the model. The perturbation-based is like a small noise that is added to the sample. It is normal for the human eye, but for the model it can be misleading. Okay, the first one, this is the framework for the first attack, and the second one, but we combine them in one framework. Then we develop our system defense. This system defense is like
Let me ask a question.
Yes.
You mentioned, are you protecting?
We attack, then we protect.
لا بس عشان انت الان you said you're doing a patch or noise.
Yes. Both of them, we have two attacks in one frame.
Okay, but is the attack on the input data or on the logic?
No, the input data. Okay, so we fit the system. For example, if we have a car, okay, we fit the camera at a fake sample. So it can be a car, it can be a stop sign, but here we choose to be a vehicle. Then if we developed our system defense that can mitigate the adopted attack that we talked before. This system defense has, we modified actually the victim model, the model that we attacked before, where we, the model that we attacked is YOLO v3, it's you only look once, version 3, that has the backbone model, the darknet 53 architecture. So we modify this architecture where we replace each component with deformable convolutional neural network instead of the normal convolutional neural layer I meant. Then each layer is embraces with a denoiser function. After this, the whole model has been trained on the samples that we generated using the adversarial attacks. That we call it the adversarial learning. Here, the results of the threat model that we call it AT-bot. The AT-bot, as we can see here, this is the sample or the noise that we add to the real or the legitimate sample. And we can see that we have two metrics, actually, the falling ratio and the false negative increase. We can see that the falling ratio, it is very high. It becomes like 97 here for the patch, and for the perturbation, it's 89, which is very high because it's like the full data, it is not well inferenced. And also for the false negative increase, it is 99.21, and for the perturbation, it's 99.02, which is really, really high. Okay, and also here, this is the results that we have. The object is not well detected. Okay. So this is the results of the comparative analysis and the results of the ADD. The defense system also, we are compared with the well-known object detector in the normal area, the normal situation or settings, and it is hitting a very good accuracy. The speed is quite good, but the accuracy is very high. So what we can conclude from in here that we are using the AI and wide range applications, but we don't give a concern about the security of the object detection or AI in general. And this is a new cybersecurity field, so we cannot mitigate or secure the AI-based models or applications with the traditional or the normal methods that we are using. Thank you so much.
It's an interesting project.
It's too long to explain every single.
Is there any published article on this?
Yeah, I have 3. It's not published yet, but one is accepted. I have 3 papers. One is accepted, and I have 2. One is under review, and the other one is submitted already.
The high increase in using AI, you can feed the machine with wrong data as an attack.
Yeah. It's an attack. Thank you, sir.
Utilizing GANs for finger-based biometrics and attack detection. Basically, GANs are generative adversarial networks introduced by Encryption in 2014, which is a very new topic, has increased the working in this area. What is a spoofing attack? Spoofing attack is the act of legitimate user masquerading as a legitimate one to bypass the authentication layer. So the finger-based biometrics are very important nowadays because one of the advantages is it can limit the physical contact. So you can capture this biometric without time. To describe the GANs, it consists of 2 submodels, the generator and the discriminator. They play against each other using the min-max game theory, where the generator will start with a random noise and the output will be an image. At each epoch or each iteration, the discriminator will try to see whether this image produced by the generator is similar to the real data or not. Then if the discriminator wins, the loss will be back propagated to the generator, and then it will try to increase the accuracy of itself, the win percentage. So at each time, the image will be closer to the real data. Ideally, you want to reach 50% accuracy, which is very difficult. It's only in ideal situation. In our experimentation, we have reached 61%, which is very close to the ideal. As you can see, these are the real finger-veil images. These are the fake finger-veil images that we produced from our model. Now, what kind of utilization we can use? We can, in our model, you can use the bigger image sample. You don't need to crop images. You can create spoofing scenarios. You can generate spoofing dataset, which is very rare. You can also train various classification model. In number 3 and 4, we did as a deployable model, the CNN VGG16 model. accuracy of 99.83%, which is the highest accuracy that we have right now.
Also, she has some publications as
Yes,
well.
I have
in
publication
Q1.
under review.
Start by introducing myself. My name is الحاسب. I'm a master degree in information security, and now I'm lecturer in this university. First of all, the aim of our project is to investigate the vulnerability of SCADA system by detecting DDoS attack. We follow a specific methodology and worked on three contributions. We have here a cybersecurity framework which follow the standards and the best practices of cybersecurity, and we contribute three attack models, two types of three attack. The first one of general attack on a SCADA system, classified as 11 attacks based on or depending on the elements which being attacked, and also we produce DDoS attack tree on the SCADA system. After that, we contribute proposed defense model architecture. As you see here, we have a controlled environment. We simulate or we work in a real-time simulator. We use the Combat Honeypot, which is a decoy system, and also we have on a management side, we have a monitoring machine. We use the machine learning algorithm to trace and monitor the traffic. Also, we worked on a new data set. The new data set is between balanced and unbalanced traffics in this DDoS attack. At the end, we focused on increase the security level of SCADA system. So we combined between distributed firewall and honeypot and also machine learning. We used support vector machine in this work, and we contribute a new data set. I published 2 papers in international conference, and under review we have a paper in journal Q2.
But this is it just the detection or the defense also?
Two, detect and
detect and defense. Yeah. How would you defend against DDoS? Is it like throttling traffic, escape? What is it that you're doing?
First, we launch DDoS attack, okay, and capture this traffic using machine learning algorithm and using support vector machine. After that, we
ايوه تفضل.
طيب هو اول شيء يعني بعد ما اشتغلنا على طبعا عندي
انا
مانجمنت
بتكلم بس على الديفنس مو على
الديفنس بيتم من خلال باستخدام الماشين ليرنينج. بعد ما نكابتشر الباكيت عملنا يعني تم تدريب الاله على انه عندي داتا سيت خاصه. هذه الداتا سيت تصنف للنورمال والاب نورمال. وضعنا نيو اتريبيوت عشان تعمل يعني كابتشر لهذا الترافيك، وبعد كذا تم منع من خلال استخدام الديستريبيوتد فايروول. يطلع عندي سكيورتي رولز
from the firewall. يعني السيستم هذا will push policies على الفايروول to defend against
distributed firewall not self firewall.
اوكي. يعطيك العافيه. شكرا.
I'm a master student in ناخذ الكل. Today I present my research titled Encryption, Privacy, Computing and Secure Authentication for Electric Vehicle Charging System based on blockchains. It's widely implemented. The world's largest oil producer, Saudi Arabia, announced recently that by 2030, at least 30% of the cars in the capital city will be electric. That raises the need to have secure infrastructure for these vehicles. There are several blockchain electric vehicle charging systems that have been proposed to provide security and privacy. However, they focused on anonymity, which alone is insufficient to prevent the tracking adversary from recreating the target vehicle course. Therefore, in our solution, we are providing the essential requirements that include mutual authentication, anonymity, invisibility, traceability, backward and forward security, joint key control, effective re-authentication, verification method, and attack resistance. The system starts by the electric vehicle and the energy aggregator registration from the operator, which is the electricity company, based on the electric curve quadrant and diesel certificate. Then the authentication will take place between the electric vehicle and the energy aggregator to obtain the service of
the related work show that our solution was able to achieve all the solution requirements, and the comparison with the our authentication protocol computational cost with the previous schemes show that it was quite similar. However, our authentication protocol outperformed the previous schemes about 82% reduction in the time of computation. To conclude, the existing work do not provide the balance between privacy and preservation and the security for these vehicles, and there is a need to find that balance in our solution. Thank you.
Who's working on this?
مش فعلا رسالة طبعا يعني الايم
هذه رسالة
رسالة ماجستير من الايم that homeowners if you want to sell electricity maybe we are aware about the last development that everyone could install solar panel. The energy could be stored and could be sent back to the company, or you can sell it to anyone. Yeah, so you can sell it to electric vehicles. However, how to establish the trust between electric vehicles and the car owner. So hopefully by using blockchain and by having this technology will allow vehicles to have charge from everywhere with the trust that could be established.
I'm interested in the preservation of privacy. This is a very difficult challenge. That cybersecurity in society. We want to secure. With security, we want more data. But from the other side, privacy, we preserve privacy. So we want less data either anonymizing or that's an interesting approach.
Car owners would like us not to announce their identity.
Not only car owners, but I think the concept of privacy. I'll give you an example. If you want to go the concept of you still want to know the identity, but you also want to preserve the privacy. It's a balance between what is it that you invest in order for you to achieve security services. Concept is great. Grazie.